happening to them. The Church of Philadelphia, the Church of whatever, So if you read Revelation 2:3, they're there. I had my experience on that as well and got confused. So I had to take my time to read those things. But that is the whole thing, that the whole group of people were put into that situation. And as generation comes on, as the generation move on, the things that people have accepted, as a result of all these things, has made us what we are today. The faith has been turned around to something else, and we are not ready to acknowledge it or to see that. That is the problem. It's happening to the Muslim also. They have their own, Muslims have got division. We have the Sina or whatever, Sinai, the Ahmadiyya. It's all groups. They have their own personal divisions, which sort of have their own suggestions of how the Quran is, the meaning of the Quran. They have that. It's probably not as many, because they are very strict to sort of make the gathering, or the people who are holding to, they hold on strongly, some strong norms, which keeps them into that state. But as time goes on, they are all becoming more, freedom fighters, trying to break free for their own chance to make their mind up of what they believe. Most Islamic people are now standing up on the feet to sort of deduce what the Quran is all about, to be able to come out to say that this is what I feel, the interpretation of it. Because if you people say what you're saying, at the end of the day, look at my life, look at that person that you claim that he was Alaji, or he was that kind of person, and look at his life, and you think Allah is blessing him, and me, he doesn't bless me. Why? He does what I do. He's no different from me. Why is he more Alaji than me? People are challenging these things as time goes on. But still, with the Muslim world, they have, some of them threaten unnecessarily. They even believe strongly that they do things to fight for God. Like I see, there are some suggestions in the Quran that gives them the confidence that if you sort of think along that line, you are bound to sort of, take that mantle. And I said myself that Allah, he has his own hands. He has got a bigger hand than you, the Muslim, or you, the Islamic person. Allah has got a very big hand. Allah has got his own brains and master. Allah can see ahead. If Allah have issue with me sitting here, or Allah have issue with that person that you are going to kill or destroy, Allah had the ability to deal with the person in a more better and a nice way than you going to do that. So if you read this book and you took some messages and say, oh, Allah told you to do that, I'm not arguing with you. Go and do that. But I feel your common sense should tell. With the common sense is telling me that it is wrong, because Allah and his description that is given here gives us that chance for us to allow him to be Allah, for him to do the things himself, not you. Because if he goes to do it, he has set the law that you shouldn't kill, you shouldn't do that. I know somehow it's advised also that you can kill in the Quran. So there is that confusion. But in a more logical sense, or let's say in your own personal understanding of life, if your division that we have about God in the Quran and also in the Bible, saying God is omnipotent, all-knowing, omniscient, do you think that it's proper or right that you go do something for God that God has not personally told you, but you believe that this told you, the Quran, so you go and do it? That is the reason why you do it. That is the reason why I'm doing this, to say that God does not give the message. The true God did not give. Maybe Allah has given. Then maybe Allah is not the true God. But if he is the true God, this message should not come from him. Allah will not order you to go and kill another human being. You understand? He created all those people. You have no right to kill anybody. Just like nobody has a right to kill you who goes to kill that other person. And so the same way you feel that you shouldn't be touched, the same way that person you are going to kill feel that he shouldn't be touched. That does not mean that one cannot be corrected when he does something wrong in society. If I do wrong to somebody, man to man, I and that person had to resolve our issue. If I am quite stronger than that person and he can resolve that issue with me, it comes to a third party from the person who is having an issue to come into the place and say, okay, what happened? Sitting down, discussing it, and whatever issues are can always be resolved among ourselves. But if we bring Allah into that equation, then it will not even matter for you to resolve the issue. Allah can take the pain and the worries that that person has away from him. Allah can let that person who bullied the other person, he can sort of make that person stop and become a good person all of a sudden, and even go to apologize to that small person that he probably bullied. Allah can do that. He can chant that person to do that. So it won't be necessary for you to go take it upon yourself to hang the person, to cut the person's throat, as if Allah is not there. You make it look as if Allah is a statue. But Allah should be believed, or we are supposed to believe that He is God, He is real, He's a living person, He has a hand like you. Just like Jehovah God has got a hand like me or like you. And He can hit His own blow. He can slap. He can hang body if you want to hang. And Allah doesn't need to hang anybody. He can easily tell you die and you're dead. So why do we worry ourselves and do the things we do? That is what I'm trying to say, that it is more of a human conflict. It has nothing to do with Allah. Let's leave Him out of all these things. We are corrupt in our own way. We have our own way of life. We have accepted a certain way of life to be okay. Due to this book, I also pointed to you that is why I separate these books from God. You see, because when we place this book in the hands of God, this is where the confusion and the craziness comes in. This is what is making us, because this book here will tell you that you can kill. It will also tell you that you cannot kill. The Quran and both the Bible. It will give you the right to understand that it is only God who created human being. It is God who decreed you to die. And sometimes it tells you that when you meet your enemy, kill your enemy. But He also tells you to be very peaceful and love and embrace your brothers and sisters. Embrace your, people would keep translating, look out answers and say, what really is Allah saying? Allah is not saying anything through this book. Neither is Jehovah saying anything through this book. Because if you keep thinking that He's saying things through this book, then you keep being in the confusion that you are in the rest of your life. I'm not saying it, I'm not cursing it. You just check them. And I'm going to point a few things out from there for you to see. Just as I've pointed in the Bible. And anyone you ask will say that Christianity accepts Jehovah as omnipotent, omniscient God, all-knowing God, all-powerful God. Here in the Quran also, it is stated as Allah being all-knowing God, omnipotent God, all-powerful God. If you open Surah, Surah LVII, L for Lima, V for Vida, I for interest, LVII, verses 1 to 4. It tells you what really, it will point to you straight ahead. Allah. It will tell you who Allah really is, and His omnipotency, not as written in there, but yeah. Now, if we read LVII in the surah, it always starts with, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. In verse 1 of Surah LVII, it says, whatever is in the heavens and on earth, let it declare the praises and glory of God. For He is the exalted, in might, the wise. We go to verse 2. To Him belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. It is He who gives life and death, and He has power over all things. It is He who gives life and death and have power over all. It didn't say that it is you who give power, who have power over life and death and over all things. It is him. He has